Today we bring you the second part of the saga, The 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. In this story, Dr. Doom, Earth's new Sorcerer Supreme, has chosen Spider-Man as the new champion against the 8 scions of Cyperion, a mantle previously held by Dr. Strange. While Sorcerer Supreme, Strange agreed to periodically battle the scions in exchange for some of the god Cyperion's power to protect Earth. Armed with new arcane armor and 8 life-restoring reeds of Ragador, Spider-Man must figure out how to keep the scions from destroying Earth, or die trying. He has already used 1 extra life and has only 7 remaining. What will Spider-Man's next death look like? I'm Andrew the Geek Master. Don't forget to leave your like to support the channel. And if you don't want to miss out on stories like this, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and let's get started. The chapter starts with Peter taking a long shower, but he can't shake the memory of the pain he felt when he was killed in the previous issue. However, Peter doesn't have time to feel sorry for himself. Moments later, he's back in action, using his new magical powers to face off against several creatures as he invades the Sanctorum with help from Dr. Strange's astral projection and Black Cat. They're here to retrieve a magical book Spider-Man plans to study to boost his mystical powers. As soon as they secure the book, Felicia asks if they have an escape plan. Apparently, Strange devised the plan counting on Peter's new powers. If the hero doesn't execute it perfectly, they'll fall for eternity. Peter focuses, and following Strange's instructions, casts a spell that helps them escape the sanctorum. The problem is, despite his efforts, Peter realizes he's not yet ready to read the book, a suspicion Felicia already had. The truth is that Peter didn't phrase it well. What he really needs is a cup of coffee and an all-nighter studying the book. Black Cat, worried for him, assumes Peter is bound to die and asks why he insists on doing this alone. Strange explains that when the Earth's champion is chosen, they must fulfill the covenant. Even if Strange wanted to help Peter directly, his involvement would violate the covenant and forfeit the competition. Peter appreciates Felicia's concern and tries to reassure her, saying he has extra lives now, though he hopes not to use them. Felicia bids him goodbye, reminding him to pick up the phone when he's not in the middle of a crisis, and even mentions that she's single now. Peter awkwardly responds, offering to recommend some dating apps, which leaves Felicia annoyed. She claims Peter has a knack for saying the worst things at the worst times. This interaction prompts Strange to observe that Peter is terrible with women. Peter retorts, saying he was bitten by a radioactive spider, not a radioactive Romeo. After Black Cat leaves, Peter asks Strange for advice on defeating the scions of Cyperion and coping with the pain of resurrection. Strange solemnly replies that there is no true victory in this covenant, adding that there are fates far worse than death. Meanwhile, in the Crimson Cosmos, several of Cyperion's scions discuss the unfolding events. Calyx believes this is the perfect moment to claim Earth in their father's name. Strange has been neutralized, Doom is distracted, and Earth's champion is just a lowly insect. Sintros, who was defeated in the previous issue, argues that if Cyperion truly wanted Earth, he would have already taken it. The Covenant is a gift from their father, meant to determine who among them is worthy of the throne and who is inevitable. But Calyx dismisses Sintros's opinion, pointing out his recent defeat. Syra, Calyx's twin sister, shares her own view. She believes the Covenant is nothing but a childish game, a mere distraction. Her ambitions reach far beyond this. What she desires is freedom. 2 days later on Earth, Peter continues studying the magical book, hoping to prepare for his next battle with a scion of Cyperion. He shares his situation with Norman Osborn, who, recently freed from his sins, is no longer the Green Goblin. Norman admits he doesn't believe in magic, leaving Peter bewildered, especially since the book is literally floating in front of them through magic. Norman then reveals his decision to shut down Oscorp, which surprises Peter even more. According to Norman, Oscorp represents his many sins and the pain he's caused. To seize this new chance at redemption, thanks to Peter, Norman needs a fresh start. Peter agrees and concerned, expressing sympathy for Oscorp's investors. But Norman assures him they'll survive. He's more concerned about Peter, given his story of deaths and extra lives. Suddenly, Peter realizes he's running late for a meeting with Aunt May. As he steps out the front door, he is abruptly teleported elsewhere. It's time for another battle with a scion of Cyperion, this time against Cyperion. The villain, with a bug-like appearance and wielding a scythe, proposes a challenge. If Spider-Man can land a single hit, he'll win the fight. If not, the entire realm will be destroyed. Peter understands the task, but sarcastically asks if they can reschedule since he has another commitment. Cyperion responds with a resounding no, and the battle begins. Spider-Man knows he must act fast, so he uses his new powers to summon multiple magical hands, aiming to land one solid punch on his opponent. However, Cyperion has the ability to teleport objects into infinitely divisible space, causing all of Spider-Man's punches to be redirected back at him. At one point, just as Spider-Man is about to strike, Cyperion teleports him behind himself. Realizing that the villain's weakness must be tied to the spatial nature of his powers, Peter racks his brain, recalling everything he knows about the structure of the universe. Cyperion mocks him, claiming that Spider-Man will never touch him because an infinitely divisible space will always separate them. Furthermore, Cyperion boasts that he can banish Peter, or parts of him, to infinite dimensions. And that's precisely what happens. Cyperion teleports parts of Peter's skull to different corners of the universe, momentarily blinding him. The pain is excruciating, but Peter tries to stay focused. Despite being at a clear disadvantage, he casts a new spell he learned from the magical book, one that links him and Cyperion. Wherever Peter is sent, Cyperion will go as well. Peter follows up with another spell, trapping them both in a confined space. Since Cyperion's techniques require a vast amount of space to work, he's now at a disadvantage. To counter, the villain transports them to the Quantumverse, where Peter continues to shrink their surroundings even further. It becomes clear that this is all part of Peter's plan. Cyperion hasn't considered the nature of his own powers as deeply as Peter has contemplated theoretical physics. Peter recalls a model of space-time that suggests if you traveled in a straight line in space, you'd eventually return to your starting point, albeit after an infinite journey. He theorizes the same applies to scale. If you keep shrinking in one direction, you could eventually loop back to your original size, or even grow larger. And that's exactly what happens. Peter and Cyperion shrink to such an extreme degree that they re-emerge as giants, far larger than the Earth. In this moment, Peter uses his massive finger to crush both himself and Cyperion as if they were insects. With this, Spider-Man defeats Cyperion, but sacrifices another life in the process. The pain is indescribable, akin to the instant dissolution of one's atoms through an infinitely recursive folding of space. After his death, Peter finds himself face to face with Phil Coulson again. Coulson, visibly concerned, simply wishes him luck. Peter's mind wanders briefly, and he suddenly finds himself in a restaurant with his girlfriend Shay and his friend Randy. Distracted by everything that's been happening, Peter struggles to focus on the conversation. Just as he begins to feel like things are finally settling down, everyone in the restaurant freezes. Peter immediately knows what this means. It's time for his next battle with a scion of Cyperion. At that moment, a small red-horned girl appears before him, announcing it's her turn to play. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey that showcased Spider-Man's second death. If you're as excited for the next chapter as we are, don't wait any longer. Hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a second of this epic saga. And of course, smash that like button to show your support because every like counts. Drop a comment below telling us what you think about the story so far and share it with your friends so they can join in on the action. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.